This is the FASS fuel air separating system I'll be installing on my coach. This is an open box video. The fuel return hose, some wiring harness, and all the fittings here. Okay, yeah, this is the real deal. These are two filters. It's clearly labeled here. One's for this, and this is for the sticking out one. And here is the fuel inlet, or is it the outlet? Not sure. We'll find out later. And this is the other end of the fuel inlet or outlet. This is the 165 gallon version. So it will pull 165 gallon of fuel every hour. Mounting bracket. Looks like another piece of mounting bracket. Must go like this for some frame rails, but I'm not going to use these. So this is what goes with the FASS, the fuel heater. Again, the wiring harness there. And this is the main deal. It's supposed to be 300 watts. That screws on the... How does it go? I need to loosen this up and then put this on there. I'll figure out later. Here is where I will mount the FASS fuel system. So what you see right here is the mounting plate for the FASS, and I have drilled and tapped these holes into this frame bar, and also pre-drilled these holes for the installation of the FASS. I have 5 1024 bolts holding the FASS, and then this is a 1/8 inch aluminum panel. And there, what are you seeing there? That's a hole, and it's also drilled and tapped with 1024, and that's used for the electrical ground. And this wire you see has a loom on there. That's for the positive wire running from the driver's side compartment door to here. And enough for the electrical connections and the installation of the FASS. Here is the fuel hoses. This is a 3/4 inch NPT Tee. And this top part right here is the original vent line. And this is the added 3/4 inch to the 10A fitting. And then this is for the FASS fuel return line. And this is also the original tank vent hose. I will be replacing this because it's cracked, and I will have some extra hoses anyway, so might as well return this. And all the way on the other end, you can see there is a fuel. That's actually for the original fuel intake. So that's going to a primary fuel filter. But then now it will go to my FASS, and then coming out from the FASS is to the primary fuel filter. Here we go. This is the electrical part of the FASS, and these wires you see are also going through on the other end. And here is a cable gland that I used for the cables for the wires to enter this bay. And on the other end, you can see it's going out. Yeah, maybe you can see it like this, and it's going across the frame from there all the way to the propane bay and then to the fuel bay. And one of these wires will be used to power the FASS, and the other 10 gauge wires will be used to power the fuel heater, and the other few wires are extra reserved. If I want to add some lights or whatever, I'll be useful later. And just like, okay, we have finished here, and what we have, this is the power source, so it's from the chassis battery. And then these two are the triggers. It will have to be ignition trigger. So here on to our diagram, and the 31 and 32 are reserved, and it's the ignition. And two of these black wire 10 gauge wires, one's for the FASS pump, the other's for the heater, and two relays here, one's for the FASS, one's for the heater, and also two this fuse here. And all these wires are according to the diagram, from the battery through the fuse and then onto the relay, and then from the relay you'll have a trigger, and then if it's triggered, then power will go from the relay onto the other side and to the FASS or the heater. And then on the ground, I have it grounded right here. So this is not the main ground. This is just for the relays to be triggered. The main ground will be on the other side of the bay and will be directly grounded to the frame itself. This is the two wires that is coming from the ECU, and these two wires going to the original lift pump. I have routed them from the other side of this bay, from the lift pump to here. So what it does is, from the ECU it will go to this relay, and this relay will fool the ECU as if the lift pump is still working, so it won't throw a check engine light. And these two wires is originally from the lift pump. So the design is to have it normally function through the relay, and if in emergencies I still want the lift pump to be working, then I will connect these two together and the lift pump will be working as the original design. Okay, we are done here, and these two wires are from the ECU and to the relay, and these two are to the lift pump, and in emergency case these two can be connected together. And right now I'm just going to fix it somewhere here, just stick down here, and maybe use some zip ties to organize it. And here we are going underneath the coach, and this is the back side of that bay I just showed you. This is the exhaust, and here on the inside, and right there you see that there's some exposed metal, and there's a connector over there, and that's where the lift pump is, and those connector wires were routed to the outside, to those four wires I just showed you, and it can either use to be for the ECU using the relay, or it will directly connect from the ECU to the lift pump. And the fuel lines on the lift pump were left there, just in case I'll ever need it. I thought I can start installing the FASS finally after everything's ready, but well, not so fast. Let's see what we have the issue here. I originally put on these fittings that came with the FASS pump, but then only to find this is actually 8N, maybe 6N. I think it's 8N, but it's not the one that I want. So my fuel lines all have this 10AN, and you can see the size difference. But luckily I watched some other videos and I bought the correct fittings. I thought they were not needed, but they turns out to be necessary. Now I'll put them on, and finally we should get it running. So this is the screw assemble that I'll be using. They provide this 1/4-inch screw originally, and this washer. So I will put in this flat washer and this spring washer in addition to what they provided. So the screw goes in like this with the flat washer and spring washer, and on the other end here you can see the bolt is sticking out like that, and I will put these spacers onto this and then screw onto the hose on this side here. So here we have it installed. The bolts are on the other end there, and the washer in the middle, and the FASS on the top. So I feel like it can use some more of those screws. They only gave me 3, but they have I think 5 screw holes. If they give 5 screws, that must mount better. But anyway, it's hooked up. The next thing is to mount the fuel lines that's coming out from the tank, and then the FASS is sucking from that line, and then I will be hooking up the other 2 lines, and then finally will be the filter and the electrical wire. Okay, here we have 3 of the lines tightened. The fuel inlet on the other side from the tank, and this is to the primary filter, and this is the fuel return back to the tank here. This is one of the filters. They want you to put some lubricant on the O-ring here. So I have the PTFE lubricant I have, and then just use the finger to spread over the O-ring here, all across the inside and the outside and on the surface. And once that's done, I will set this aside, get the other one ready. Here, this same thing, I applied the lubricant already, so it's ready to install. And the other thing is on the thread here. On the thread right here, they want you to put some WD-40. I have the silicone lubricant here. I'll spray this. They want you to spray generously. I think this should be pretty good. I wouldn't call this generous, but I don't want to overspray and leak, drip it down, so this should do. As to the install of the filters, they have the picture here. This one, we don't see the draw tube. I mean, this filter goes onto the one with the draw tube. I'm gonna spread this a little bit more on the side. So once it's on there, I want you to go 3/4 more turns. Okay, I should have this logo facing on the other side. I'm gonna use 2 hands. It's pretty tight. And the other filter, same thing. It goes to the one without the draw tube. So here I'm tightening this these fuel fittings. I just loosely screwed on previously. Now I want to secure it down. And by the way, this is 1-inch wrench. And on the inside, I have the one coming from the tank. I can't show you, but it will be the same thing. The last step here, I want to disconnect this line. This is from the fuel tank, which right now it's actually from the FASS. It's the outlet of the FASS pump. Disconnect this. I already loosened it up, so it's easy to remove. Okay, you want to clean this up so it will seal correctly. And I already applied the WD-40 lubricant onto this side too. Let me put this on here. It's the union. And then on the other side, I have an extended fuel line that will go on right here. I'll tighten this up later. Right now, it will just be finger tight. And then it shall go all the way. You can see here. Yeah, this is the inlet of the secondary filter, fuel filter. So I'm removing the primary fuel filter. So this one will be my new primary filter. Oh, actually, this one will take the output of the FASS and going directly to the CAPS fuel system. And again, same thing, want to clean this up a little bit. It will seal correctly. And then apply the lubricant. Okay, should be good. Here I forgot to do one thing, that's priming the fuel filter. So what I will do is have the bus in the accessory position, and then I will run to the back and then try to bump the ignition and then come back quickly, screw on the filters, because the fuel will fill the filters and then it will come out from. I already loosened this filter, as you can see here. So I'll go back and bump the ignition and then come back here and then screw it on. Oh no, made a mess. Oh well, I think it's okay. Okay, let's recap everything. Here we have the wirings. This is the trigger position. I have two spare fuse locations, one for the FASS pump, the other for the heater. And with the weather right now, I wouldn't need the heater. So I have the FASS plugged in, and the fuse for the FASS pump, and the fuse for the heater, and the main power source is the chassis battery, and then coming through here to the fuse and triggered by this wire from this relay, and then going back from here to the other side. And on the other side here we have two wires. We have two wires that came from that port there through these wires, one going to the FASS and one going to the heater. And the ground is back in there, if you will. It's directly grounded to the main beam. Installation of the FASS is through this 1/8 of an inch aluminum panel. And then for the fuel line, we have a input from the tank on the other side. I'll show you later. And then to the port on this end right here. And then this line goes to the primary filter in the back, and this line, the return line, going back to the tank. I have it teed on this port, and then the one is the exhaust port, and then one's from the FASS. And here in the passenger side rear electrical panel, I have the two wires coming through these. It's loomed now. One's going to the lift pump, and one's from the ECU to the lift pump, and the one's from the ECU is tied into this relay, so it will create amp draw. So to trigger the relay and to fool the ECU as if the lift pump is still working, so it doesn't throw a check engine light. And in the back here, I have this original primary filter, fuel filter removed. So it's not connected to anything. This is the original port that is from the fuel tank. And this one goes to the lift pump. I left this line original, so in case of emergency I can still attach to use the lift pump. And then the original line that is from the fuel filter, and right now it is actually the output of the FASS. And then from the FASS it's going to this port that is the secondary fuel filter, and then it goes to the caps fuel system. And this one you see I capped off, that's the original line that is from the lift pump output. So right now it's also left to reserve here as in case of emergency. And lastly, here in this port, you can see in the middle of the screen, that's the port that's drawing the fuel from the fuel tank, feeding the FASS. I have the key in the on position. You can hear the FASS is running. It's relatively quiet. And let's get the coach started, see how it works. Coming to the back of the coach, I can see here pressure of the fuel system is at 18 psi also. That should be enough to start the coach. I didn't mention fuel pressure gauge. That's relatively easy to install. I have a Allen bolt here. Just remove that and use an adapter from 10 millimeter. That is the thread of this hole, 2/8 of an inch NPT, and then using this elbow and then feed to this pressure gauge. So what I am going to do right now is put the start of the coach to rear, so I can start it from right here. And what I am going to do now is just start it. I have some light smoke coming from the gas. That should be normal. Now the smoke is gone. Okay, the FASS is still working. The last thing to do is just to check for any leaks. I have each and every of the connection that I touched on wrapped with paper towel to check for any leaks. So hashtag high tech, right? Let's see, I had the engine running for maybe about 10 minutes now. Let's see if we have anything leaking, starting from the FASS pump itself. Okay, so filters. Oh, no leak here. Okay, dry here. No, nothing. Okay, one in the back. That's from the draw tube. Okay, nothing. And this here. Nothing. Right here. Sitting dry. Once disconnected, it's too dry anyway. Completely dry. So this one's important. That's feeding the pump. Completely dry. It is capped off the port. A little bit oily, but that's not from fuel. It's dry, yeah. There. It's completely dry. This beer is definitely cold. completely dry. So this works. Last place is draw tube. It's completely dry. Okay, we got it all finished. Well, everything's working. I'll call the project done. Well, wait, before I shut off this video, let's talk about the performance. As of right now, when it's idling, there's absolutely no difference whatsoever. I don't hear it idle better or any difference whatsoever. Just a preventive maintenance, if you will, because the lift pump is very prone to fail. Maybe I'll give an update in the comments if I when I get this coach on the road. See if we got a better results when it's driving. But as of now, there's no difference and everything is working. There's no leaks. Electrical is working fine. I will call it good. And see you in the next video. Bye.